just cause reason. Well, that first or second day, we had a visit. I said, we got to run the show here.
It's 4:30.
We got along okay. Not really, but it is what it is. Yeah, got okay. Are we ready to roll? Okay. It's 4:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order, please. For public information, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted on the east wall of the Commissioners' room. Roll call, please.
Meyer,
Here.
Harris, Knapper, Reisig,
Here.
Blue,
Yes.
All rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any changes or modifications to the agenda? Callie, do you
I
have
don't have
anything?
anything.
Board, do you have any changes or modifications?
None.
Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion for approval of the agenda as submitted.
I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
Okay. Record your votes, please.
Oh, I forgot what I was doing, sorry. I'm gonna abstain him so that we can,
That's fine.
okay to close?
Close, please. Want to remind everybody that the board does reserve the right to enter into a closed session anytime we feel necessary. We do have an executive session at the end of the agenda. Anybody wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Can we hit it again?
Me?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay to close?
Close, please.
And you have 3 yeses?
Thank you. We do have a public hearing for Papa Moon's Vineyards and Winery, also known as Papa Moon Ciders, application for a Class 1 liquor license. Kelly? Hi.
There, how are ya?
Well, how are you?
This is Calvin, right?
Yes, Cal.
Why is our stand facing the wrong way?
Must be from the personnel board.
Evidently, I don't know.
Hang on, Kurt will help us.
We're gonna get that turned around
And
here.
just watch out for the,
Unless you want everybody talking to you, Kelly, it's fine with me. There you go. Thank you, Kurt.
thanks, Kurt.
I just noticed that.
So just, the purpose of the public hearing is for anybody to speak in favor or against, and they're changing their license. It's been, run through sheriff's office, so you can ask, Sheriff Overman if he has anything to say
Okay.
about it, but.
And you're representing Papa Moons?
Yep.
What do you have? I'll let you go first. What do you have to say?
So pretty much what we're doing is we're applying for Class 1 liquor license, which includes retail. So in the past, when we've done weddings, we've had to apply for those SDL license. This kind of negates that, so we will no longer have to go through and get the SDL license every time for the weddings. It does not change what we do on a normal day-to-day basis within our open hours. We'll still just carry our wines and ciders and meat that we normally do. But this will just allow us on special occasions, weddings and stuff, to be able to serve beer and liquor.
And
through
this
that-
is on
through that
site?
license. Yes,
Yes.
still on site, same location, everything. Nothing else changes except for just we're getting rid of those SDLs.
So we
and
don't
that-
get to see you for SDLs any
I know,
longer?
you're gonna miss my face, right?
Yes.
Okay, Sheriff, I think I saw you back. There you are. You're back there in the shadows. Shadow Sheriff. Yeah. Do you have any objection or any problems?
Oh, my gosh.
You have a whole list, huh?
No objections we've had. In fact, I've researched this before. They came to us with a bunch of SDLs every year. We've had no issues with
Okay.
them. I don't anticipate any.
Okay. All right. Well, I've looked over the application. I don't see any problems. Board, do you have any questions or concerns?
No.
Okay. If not, I would entertain a motion for approval or,
Don't you have to
Anybody
ask?
in
oh,
favor?
I'm
or-
sorry, just a minute. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
Is there anybody wish to have any questions or concerns? This is a public hearing. All right, it is a public hearing, so I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion for approval or denial of the license as presented.
I move that we approve the license for Papa Moon Vineyards and Winery.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, please record your votes.
Ken and Russ, please.
Again,
You didn't do it for some reason.
Yeah, I had trouble getting Charlie's to record, so. Okay to close?
please.
And you have 4 yeses?
Thank you. Okay,
Okay, hit me
you're,
up tomorrow so we can.
you're all approved. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Okay, need a motion to move into Board of Equalization, please.
Make a motion to move into Board of Equalization.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Record your votes.
Ken, Charlie.
Still didn't. There must be something wrong with mine. There we go. Okay,
Okay to close?
close, please.
And you have 4 yeses?
Thank you. Okay. First item is discuss, consider treasurer's distress warrant list from the sheriff.
And the list is in your packets. Did you send twice? The other.
On November 1st, we sent this to Heather Hoschild in July. So distress warrants are not particularly popular with our deputies. But it's something that we're due and we have to do. And the courts in the county needs an enforcement arm, and so that's defined in statute as us. November 1st, the county treasurer issued 351 distress warrants in the amount of $246,528.82. Between then and now, they issued 5 more warrants and recalled 12 warrants. We collected 327 warrants worth approximately $249,255.30. So out of all those that we had, we returned 17 uncollected warrants in the amount of $3,273.65. And we sent a spreadsheet that said what we could collect.
But then you continue working on those too, don't you?
Some of the, I don't know that we're working on them still. It's like, here's one for $74.60. 191, 190, 47, 130, $39. This is, we're not working on, the owner's deceased. There's nothing to seize.
There's nothing to go
There's
after.
nothing to locate to sell. And so we've got, one guy, 1, 2, 3, then we get 5 on one person who's deceased. We've got, a company that's no longer in business. Business is closed, can't find anything to sell. We have some properties that just didn't sell. We tried to sell them at auction, they didn't sell. And that happens. Property didn't sell. Business closed, unable to locate any property. So, when you issue us somewhere in the neighborhood of $252,000 and there's $3,000 we can't find,
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
it's probably the best year we've ever had. So,
Thank
but
you.
we issue those across the board to the deputies that are out there working, and everybody gets a the same number, and then we track them. And we put the pressure on to get it done. You know when they're doing it, because I start seeing the reports on, these are identified by a certain report, and they just, as soon as they get them, they start working on it. They just wanna get it done, so they don't have to work on it.
Not the most favorite thing for
It's not
the
their
guys
most
to do.
favorite thing, they like, you know, we have to go out and collect money on behalf of the county, and not just on behalf of the county. There's a lot of things where we're the enforcement arm of the courts, and so we're always having to collect money, but that is typically, across the United States, a sheriff's department function. Police departments don't do that.
In the years past, wasn't there just a individual out doing that?
No,
It was always a deputy doing it?
it's always deputies. We have a civil process server, a guy that goes out and serves papers. They don't serve warrants.
Just papers, like, okay.
They serve papers on behalf of the courts. On anybody that wants, you know, if you're suing somebody or somebody has to go to court, the civil process server does that.
And this doesn't fall
And
into that?
No, this is only deputy sheriffs that do this.
Okay. And that's by law, they're the only ones that can do that, right? Okay.
Well, I suppose maybe a civil process server could, but when you're going out and demanding money from people, you walk up and say, I need money. Goes, we just send deputies. Goes better with them. That's kind of a confrontational thing.
Sure.
Civil process server is generally not confrontational. He's trying to find people and serve them, but there are certain things that could be contentious, that like protection orders, divorces, things like that. Reluctant witnesses on criminal cases. When we know about that, that goes to deputies.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Okay,
Thank you, Mark.
okay, thank you guys.
So I would entertain a motion that we would accept the list presented.
I move that we accept the list as presented.
Don't we have to accept the loss, take this loss?
Well, that's included in the list that's
included in this
presented,
list?
yes.
Okay.
What did he say?
How should that motion read? Shouldn't it say something about we're accepting these as a loss, we're taking this?
Well, that's
So
in-
that's what it indicates.
That's what it indicates
That's how
on the
she
list,
submitted
yes.
it to go before you, so.
The report that was given to us.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Do we have a second? I'm sorry.
I don't know that do I have a motion?
Yeah,
Yes.
I move
Motion,
that we
Mike.
accept the distress warrant list.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Okay to close?
Yes,
And you have 4 yeses?
yes, thank you.
Uh-huh.
All right, next item is discuss, consider property protest hearings from notice evaluation changes. Like we wanna do some more of those. First one is the Mauger parcel, 0100438829. Come on up.
Do we want Mark up here with us on that, or
I didn't hear you.
do we want Mark up here with us on that?
If you'd like to.
Is Lisa not gonna be here?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Mark. He tried to be up there for you guys already.
Okay, this was one of them that you received a second notice,
Yes, sir.
and they dropped it an additional 35%.
Yes, sir.
And you weren't happy with the 35%, and you would like to visit with us, so I'm gonna let you go first. How's that?
Well, yes. Okay, well, I guess, I mean, I should be more prepared, but I was shipping cattle till 3:30 and forgot we even had a meeting today, but anyways.
That's okay.
So I mean, last time I was here, I mean, I thought it was kind of in your court as far as you guys had decided that you needed a, I guess, reasonable way to value the feed yards. And, I mean, we had talked about different things, and, I mean, like we had done before, so.
Right, right.
So I guess I mean, if I'm making the argument that, you know, there has, which I know of the one feed yard that not in Scotts Bluff County, it was in a different county, so I guess I don't know, but I guess what did you guys decide?
What's your value last year?
1.149, is that if my
I think
memory
that's what you have
serves
on your
me?
sheet here, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, that's my motion, is 1.149177,
I'd be slap happy.
okay? I-
But
We have a motion, we have a second. Now, we're in discussion right now, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, do I get to say anything?
Absolutely, we're in
The
discussion.
reason we need to consider what I would say is no change is, number one, please do remember that part of this reduction that is being looked at would be reducing the irrigated and grass acres, which increased about $45,000, as well as the other ag land. It was the dwellings that, decreased. What had happened, if you look at the outbuildings, they actually decreased. I ran papers for the 2023 to 2022 comparison. What the issue was, which originally constituted the 35%, was that there was a protest in 2020, and after working with the computer-assisted mass appraisal program, when these values are approved by the board, they have to be somewhat forced into the system. So here's what happens. You have a set of land tables that you cannot alter. If you alter them, everything with the soil type and what have you changes, and then nothing comes out right. There's a problem with that. So what happens in order to match that price or value that the board has reduced it to, you have to lower either your dwellings or your outbuildings, and that's what was done. It was done in 2020 to match what the board approved. Fine, okay? That stayed for 2 years. When it was then put on and rolled again to come back to recognize that there really are outbuildings on there, that's where the increase came from. So, I would like to say that really that's where the big increase that you had protested about, a 345% increase, that's what had happened. Further research shows that, the property sold in 2015 for $2.109 million to Chimney Rock Feeders, understanding that. And if you factor in agricultural acres to go to 100% of market, it'd be 1.72 million. So with what we're looking at from the assessment standpoint, it's not really overvalued as assessed.
But that
And I understand that you acquired it in 2019 with a stated purchase price of $750 through a redemption agreement.
well,
right?
no, I'm just arguing the fact that purchase price includes more land than is included in this parcel
I see.
evaluation. There's a couple hundred acres more farm ground than is in this parcel that was in that purchase that you have.
Okay.
Because there's over 300 irrigated acres and grassland, and that's not all included in this parcel evaluation. So that purchase, I'm just pointing out that
Sure.
purchase price that you had also had a whole nother pivot and 800 acres of grass with it.
Okay.
Now, is the land price correct in this? What we're gonna lower is the houses and the buildings. The land we can't
The
change.
land has to stay the
Land has
same
to stay.
because
That's
we've
what
done that to
Is the
every,
land correct as far as your
So and I don't mean to interrupt, but I mean, so my understanding is part of the problem with this, that the feedlot is just being valued as land, not am I hearing that?
We're not sure. Well,
Well, we're not sure, we don't have.
Okay.
that's, until we get it straightened out, the thought is we put it back to last year's,
Right.
then we're gonna take a look at it and find out why we're at where we're at.
Okay.
And then we'll take a deeper look at it over this year and then come back and make whatever changes are necessary.
Okay.
But until that happens,
Okay, I understand.
I'm not sure anybody really knows what
The
happened.
agricultural land is valued as agricultural land. Feedlot is described as intensive use, but it's still agricultural land and is valued, and you folks had received a note from Ruth and what the various counties are, the feedlot acres and then the second acre, whatever. But feedlot acres are 75% of market value, just like any other agricultural land, I will tell you that.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate that. Okay. Is there any other discussion? Other questions? Okay. Call the roll, please. Oh, I'm sorry.
We didn't get a second. I'll second it.
I thought we did.
I had a second.
Did you get a second? Okay. All right, I didn't know if you had a second.
Okay,
Okay,
to
is-
open the vote?
Then let's go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 4 yeses?
Okay. You're back to last year's.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
All right, the next one is, for our feedlot, parcel number 10020020284.
Correct.
Hi,
How are you?
good.
Good. I guess I'm here to protest the feedlot taxes. I put the value on the feedlot at $932,000, and I was just wondering how you come to your figure, I guess.
Well, if Mr. Mr. Luce over here, did some explaining on how they arrived at some of that.
Do you tax the feedlot individually from the land that we farm around it, or?
I'll let him explain that to you.
Well, there are improvements that received an increase, as far as the ag acres, the irrigated and grass increased, same as all other ag land. The feedlot side acres are what the county had established as feedlot side acres. I do want to note, sir, that you had put that the value you were protesting was 1.275 million. Actually, what you had received a notice on was on $1,009,060. And so actually what you were requesting for the 932,000, this 1,009,060 after the 35% was rolled off is pretty much what the 2022 was value, close to. What you're asking for is less than the 2020 value. So that's why we had recommended no change on that. Because the 2022 assessment was actually $1,037,485, and the notice that you'd received was $1,009,060.
Correct. I missed that year to come in and protest, but anyway. I'm
So
here.
what was last year's value again, Mark? I'm sorry.
Last year's value for 2022 total was $1,037,485. When it got rolled back, the notice sent to Mr. Russ, is it? Was $1,009,060. So it was actually lower than the last year's by what, $28,000 and some change.
So 1,960,000?
1,009,000.
Oh, 1,009,000, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Correct.
Okay. That would be my motion then. That's last year's, or less, actually less than last year's.
I'll second that.
Okay. Is there any other further discussion? Thank you for the explanation, Mark. Appreciate that. Hearing none, please record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 4 yeses?
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. And I think that's the only 2 that we received. I thought we were gonna have quite a
Yes,
few.
Mike.
We got Dominion yet.
Yeah, no, I'm speaking to the feedlots.
Okay.
As soon as I'm done, then we'll move on to the next one. What we're going to try to do is to work all of this over this coming year so that we have better answers for you. And we'll use whoever wants to be part of that group, part of that discussion, and come up with a good workable formula for everybody. And we would be happy to have all of you on that, yeah.
Will you notify us?
We will. We will. We have some good, Charlie's father-in-law does that type of work also, and so we'll try to get a good group discussion and come up with something. We'll use the state or whatever we need to do. Okay? All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. Mike, you're up, buddy. The next one is Dominion and Corp. Incorporated 01002530. You're up. What do you got, buddy?
Well, first off, this property was a feedlot that closed in 1996, and Dominion Inc. purchased it in 1996, and has not had it operate as a feedlot since then.
Okay,
It's been, the house is rented back to the original owners of the feedlot. They have, two ladies have roughly 20 cows, a couple horses.
so we really can't call it a feedlot, it's just a corral.
It's just, yeah, it's
Just a corral storing a couple
Yeah.
cows, okay.
And I requested, going back to the, I guess it was last year's valuation, that really I'd like to get it changed from a feedlot to, you know, just to show what it is. It's, all the feedlot pens are basically wasteland now. I can't grow grass on them, I can't, you know, we've had 4 years of drought. I can grow it great when it's raining out, but this year it's growing good. The last 4 years.
You're not irrigating it, in other
No,
words.
It's all,
Right.
we're on an island in the middle of the North Platte River. So when it floods,
You got water.
we have water, we have a lot of water.
Okay, sure.
The house, we've had 2 years where we had no access into the house. I live right next to them, and the only way you could get in, we have 20 inches of water coming across our road, the only access road we have going in there. And there's pictures in the,
You've had water in the house before too,
and
haven't you?
and this one's had water in the crawl space.
Yeah.
In 2011, the water was right at the bottom of the floor joist. It's roughly about a 3-foot crawl space, so
So you are in a floodplain,
we are definitely in a floodplain.
right? Okay. So what is it that you're requesting? You've got 29, they were at 39.9, you're requesting 29.4. Buildings at 149, and you're asking for 94, for total of, their total is 189, and you're asking for 124 because of the, just what you just said, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
All the outbuildings were built back in the late 40s and early 50s.
Yeah,
Since we bought it, we have done no improvements other than if we see something ready to fall down or,
okay.
you know, piece of tin ready to fall out. the
And
building.
in your opinion, part of this is that you think that that the assessor's office is billing you as a feed yard rather than a corral? Would that,
Yeah, to
would
me
that be a
it's
fair
farmland.
statement?
You know, it's a house on the property with some outbuildings, and then the rest is just
Okay,
I would call it pasture land, but it's mainly wasteland because of the manure. We were not able to remove a lot of the manure that was from those feedlot pens, because to do that, you've got about that much topsoil and then saturated with manure. Below that's pure sand.
okay,
And if we would have removed that, we would have just had pure sand out there.
okay.
And consequently, all the manure that's got left there is just, it's high nitrates and high salts that is fine when you have plenty of moisture, but the minute it gets drought, it just kills the grass. And
You really can't grow anything on it then?
well, we grow weeds.
Yeah, okay.
Kosher grows real well, so.
Yeah, right. Have you guys looked at that at all?
I don't think, you mean like the parcel change?
Yeah, or anything
I
with
haven't,
that?
he hasn't brought anything in yet,
Okay,
so.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I kinda looked at the, acres, and I know they're named feedlot, and I think you and I had talked on the phone quite some time ago about that, you said it wasn't a feedlot. The only thing I noticed is if you even classified it as rural residential, and it's really the house that carries most of the value
Yeah.
here, which was lowered by the board in 2020. But if you look at the value for the feedlot primary site acre, is 13,000 if we're looking at the land. if you took basically any home site acre, whether rural, residential, whatever, that is the first acre.
Yes, and I realize that.
And then the next up to 5 acres is the $2,500 an acre. So really the land wouldn't change as we go up to the 38.32 acres, because the remaining acres, 28.32, are actually at the lowest grass value of 450.
Okay, but this is you can't grow grass on it.
Yeah, no, okay.
This is basically wasteland.
I see.
I mean, and then there's roughly, I can't remember what I had in my statement, but there's a big lake there too.
Mike, we lowered this once before, didn't we? We had this conversation?
That was for my house. I
Okay.
live right next door to this.
Okay, all right, I thought we talked about this once before.
But what I'm saying is anybody with rural residential, whatever you grow, whether it's weeds, swamp, or whatever, is getting the $450 per acre, anything over the 10 acres. That's all I'm saying with the land. So if I have 30 acres out in the country and I have over the 10 acres, the county has valued that at $450 an acre for the additional acres.
You're talking just for the land?
Yes, sir.
Just land.
Okay.
But you got 13,000 the first acre for the home site. So
Yes,
it is-
and then instead, it's not really a farm, but instead of a farm site, they call it the next site acres on rural residential.
But it's not really
$2,500
grassland,
an acre.
cause you can't grow anything
No,
on
I
it.
understand that, but if
Yeah.
you were just classifying it totally as rural res site, not growing anything, that's what I'm saying, the land value
That's about
is
the
the
low
same.
end of land in this county.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, everybody gets that 13,000 on a home site.
And I understand that, yeah, that, I'm not
Okay.
protesting that part, but to say $450 an acre for wasteland, I thought that was like 125, and then
Well,
plus the lake.
that's if you're using that in conjunction with your ag, yeah, that probably would if you had ag with it, I mean, it'd
And
be
how
probably
many acres is that?
125.
This waste land that you're talking?
28.32 is what he's saying.
Yeah, so that would drop that considerably, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
$300 an acre roughly,
That's what it is now, 300.
well, it's 450,
Yeah,
That's what we're
that's what you're getting charged for,
yeah.
and that's for grassland, but that isn't grassland, this is
Well-
wasteland.
Those are the additional acres that you pay on rural res up to whatever, whether you grow anything or not.
Have we put that into our system, this waste that he's talking about, or is it still listed as grass?
It's just it's called 703 feedlot acres, so it's misnomered in that sense because it isn't a feedlot anymore.
Right,
So you could just call it 703 site acres like you would rural residential, but it'd still be the $450 an acre. Is what I'm telling you.
Oh, I understand what you're telling me,
Okay.
what I'm saying is that he's got X number of acres of waste product here that he can't do anything with.
At 450 an acre and you add the 13.5, so it only comes up 28,000.
Well, and then remember the 4 acres at $2,500
I
an
put
acre,
that
the
in
next
there.
up to
I
500.
did. I put 18.5 in there, or 18,000 plus
Yeah.
the 12.6 on the 28 acres.
And then we got
Well, it shows the, 39,995.
and then we got 150,000 on the buildings, and you're saying the
No,
buildings
that's
are
on
not,
450.
are not worth $150,000.
If
that
I were
correct?
to have to sell those, the only reason I have two ladies that live on there, they've lived there since the
Right.
1950s.
Right.
When that feedlot was originally.
Okay, okay.
But I would have to, if I would try to rent it or to sell it, I would have to disclose, there's gonna be 3 or 4 months in the summertime when it floods, you can't get to the property. You're gonna have to move out, take all your personal property, and that's what they had to do, is take everything that could get wet and get it out of there. We had 2 semi-vans.
So you're paying taxes on almost $200,000 worth of what?
Well, yes,
That's my point.
yes.
Yeah, that's my point here.
I mean, I don't think I could sell, it would be a hard sell even to go ask, originally it was down below the 100,000. It would be hard to even sell it at that price. When you tell somebody, every 5 years, we've had 4 major floods since in the last 13 years. 2010, 2011, 15, and 16. 3 of those years they've had to move out.
Yeah, you'd have to choose to live there for one thing.
And yeah, I was naive enough when I first
Yeah.
moved out there that
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I think you've said enough. My motion's for the 124,040.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 3 yeses, yays, Meyer, Knapper, Reisig, nay, Blue.
Okay,
Now, will this change it from being a feedlot?
I don't have
I think
any
you have to
idea.
do that through mapping.
Oh, I
Doesn't he
do.
have to?
Yeah, so we can change it in our mapping and send it downstairs.
Yeah, stop in and visit with those guys, and they'll get that designation changed for you.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Mike.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, next one is discuss and consider extending the homestead exemption as per 77-3512.
I didn't read it. We did it last year just because this allows you to accept the late filings for the homestead, cause typically the deadline is
Yeah,
June 30th. And then they are allowed up to July 20th to write a letter to the board for you to consider them filing late. So
Right.
I need you to approve to do that and then decide on each homestead if you could.
okay, I need a motion to approve extending the homestead exemption, please.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Record your votes.
Didn't take mine again.
Didn't take mine either.
There it did.
Okay,
Okay to close?
close?
And you have 4 yeses?
Yes, thank you. Okay, the next one is discuss, consider approval of homestead exemption for REKER. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Reker?
He was here for a protest.
Right.
And,
I remember
actually
both.
met the deadline.
We
so
remember both of those.
He wrote the letter to the board for you to consider.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to accept homestead
Is there
exemption for Raker.
Is there- We have a second. Any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 4 yeses?
Thank you. Next one is discuss, consider the approval of homestead exemption for Roni.
I move that we accept the homestead extension for Mr. and Mrs. Roney.
Second.
Any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 4 yeses?
Thank you. We need a motion to come out of Board of Equalization.
I move that we move out of the Board of Equalization.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Record your votes.
Hang on, sorry, I gotta get caught up to you guys. Go ahead. Okay to close?
Close.
4
Okay.
yeses.
All right, thank you. First general agenda item is discuss and consider approval of capital improvement grant for Legacy of the Plain Museum for $150,000. Brenda?
Good evening.
Hello.
Are we having a balloon fest?
Yeah. We had 84 kids today at the very first kids camp, so I would say that was pretty successful.
You think?
Yeah,
How many?
84 today.
Really?
And
Cool.
then the numbers go down a little bit the rest of the week, but, so
Yeah.
it was a good event for us to sponsor.
Awesome.
Good way to kick things off. Okay, so the Legacy of the Plains Museum is, doing a capital campaign, and I just brought one of these for you.
Thank you.
And they came to us during phase 2 with two goals in mind, and the first one is that they want to increase the amount of new visitation to the museum and to the area. And this campaign will help them preserve and interpret the area, meaning in our area, agricultural heritage. So that's very important to what they do at the Legacy of the Plains. And second of all, they want to try to increase the amount of time that somebody stays at an attraction. Another good example I can give you on that is like Chimney Rock. The walking path now will hold people there a little bit longer because there's more activities. And we have acknowledged that the more activities there are to do, then the better chance we can get people to stay longer, which hopefully will result in meals, gas, hotel rooms. So that's our overall goal. And in the next 3 years, the Legacy would like to restore the Warner Cabin, build a big equipment barn for a Holt Combine. And I don't know all the details about that, but I invited Dave to be here in case you have any questions, because I don't know too much about combines. And they have a sawmill that they would like to finish. They want to add a playground and a trail so that the children have things to do. And also complete the railhead exhibit and various other upgrades around the entire campus. They requested $150,000 from the Tourism Capital Improvement Fund. I always like to point that out. This is all lodging tax dollars. Half of everything we collected 1 month goes to capital improvement. And they've requested $150,000 over the course of 3 years. So it would be $50,000 per year. And so basically they make the repairs bring in $50,000 worth of receipts, and so we pay that way. And the tourism committee is totally for the project. The museum does a lot for our community, not only for local people, but also for visitors, and we would request that you accept that amount.
Okay.
And if you have any questions, Dave is here.
I'd like to have Dave speak on that a little bit, if you would.
What was your question? I'm sorry.
Just generally.
Oh, so we have raised, through donation and pledges, at this point, just under $500,000. We're thinking the project's gonna be between 1 million, 1.25 million. But when you've seen some of the, like for instance today, we had a group in from Virginia, it was a couple. They had friends coming in that had been there earlier the year, told them to come out to the museum because it was such a great museum. So they did, they actually came out. The whole, like Brenda said, the whole purpose, well, there's two main purposes for the campaign. Again, when we're trying to get tour buses in, trying to get RV groups in, individuals, to be able to have a lot more to show. Our inside, I think, is kind of a world-class museum. Talk to people that come through every single day, that's what we get told. Outside's a little lacking. So this is really focusing on the outside. But number two, like Brenda said, is to get people to stay that extra hour and a half, 2 hours. Chimney Rock has done that, like she said, with the, not only with the trails, but their new visitor center. The monument has a new visitor center. So does Wildcat Hill. So we're trying to make sure that we kind of match that. We've had tour buses that told their tour operator that they've not had enough time at the museum. They want to spend an extra night and come back the next morning. We've had individuals tell that too. So as Carla always tells me, you need to know your average per stay. Our average per stay is about an hour and a half. With this project, we believe we can stretch it out to 3 hours. All of a sudden, it's 4 or 5 o'clock. Casper, Rapid City, Denver, Cheyenne. It's too far to get to for dinner. So they stay an extra night, and that's what we believe that will happen with these additions. And that Holt Combine, by the way, is the first self-propelled combine ever mass-produced. It's one of 4 in existence that still operate. So we plan on bringing that, like this year we have forage crop as our harvest festival crop. We plan on bringing that out and being able to show. And if you guys know anybody, Kevin Sandberg, Tom Donahue, Tom Kozad, those guys travel all over the country to see machines, to see cars. We believe that will be the same case. People come here to be able to see things like that. So, and it's a nice mix of big projects. The Warner cabin, we believe, is anywhere from 120 to 150 years old. It is in the process of being restored right now, and hopefully will be done by the end of this year. And our ag building, the whole combine building, will be built by the end of the year. But big projects, small projects, kids, ag enthusiasts, railroad. We don't do a very good job about showing the history of the railroad, and to me, it's one of the most important development keys here. So, lots of good projects. So that's why we went with the 50,000 per year, because it was kind of on par with what other groups, the zoo, I was at the fairgrounds all week. My brain's a little fried. But the fairgrounds, again, asking for that $50,000 a year, and we'd be grateful for whatever help you guys would be willing to give us.
Do you think there's any chance of moving that Rubidoux trading post to the Legacy?
They've torn it down.
It's all, is it? I knew that there was
It's
some
going.
issues with it, but maybe rebuild it at the Legacy, 'cause more people would see it there.
Yeah, that's, we were approached about the possibility of that. We said we'd be willing to discuss it, because, it's a history that a lot of people don't know about.
Well, yeah, but I mean, look how many people.
It's out of our hands.
Gary wouldn't bring it forward though, they wanted it. And
Look
after
how
they
many
got-
people go to the Legacy or go to Five Rocks, because if there's nothing going on at Five Rocks, they're not gonna drive out there and look at that.
Well,
You know,
and
that's the thing.
we work really well with all of our tourist partners, so we did tell people where it was at, even when it was out.
Yeah.
In Carter Canyon, and there was a lot of people that went out there too.
Yeah, I drove out to look at it, yeah.
A lot more people than what was originally thought. And when they put that guest book, I think they realized just how many people did
Really?
drive out there.
Yeah.
And the county and city provide maps, and it's on that map, so we can show,
Yeah,
here's
I
the route to
just
get
thought
over
it'd be a better place for it than
We're-
where it is.
there.
I
We
know.
thought so too, but
We
I
did
mean,
too.
it wasn't ours.
Yeah,
But again, we'll work with them,
Yeah.
if they put it back in the same place, we know right where it's at, we can show them on the map where to go and get there and really celebrate a part of history that I think kinda gets forgotten.
well, you guys are doing a great job out there. I just, anybody that ever comes here that is at my house, we usually bring them out and show it to them, and everybody's always impressed with it. You guys do a really, really, really good job. It's quite a place. Keep
Thank
up
you.
the great
Thank you.
work.
I appreciate that.
I'm a history nut, and I know a lot of history in this area, and we're really not capitalizing on it. And I had my grandkids out to the museum Saturday. Man, that is a wonderful museum. I've been to a lot of museums, but I tell you what, that one is really put together very professionally. It's fun. Myself, I didn't spend enough time there. I could have spent probably half a day there. But I agree, your outside area needs a lot of attention, because we're missing out on a lot of opportunities, because I have this vision of eventually a living village where you have your different ethnic groups would have a display and a person there that would do the things that they did, like the Greeks, the Italians, the Japanese, the German, Russians, the Hispanic. There's just a lot of history in this valley that people want to come see if we have it. And of course, that takes money, and it takes vision, and it takes a lot of volunteers. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Great museum.
And that's, just so you're aware, that's some of the things that we've started a couple of years ago, giving a living history. Again, it's trying to get that scheduled, have enough people out. Maintenance-wise, we hired our first maintenance person, and so they've been able to keep the grounds, even though, the weeds are growing everywhere, not in just.
I'm just so impressed with
Part of
with
that is
all
to
of it.
keep that up.
Right.
But that vision between the two houses, it's exactly what you're talking about.
And the goats are a great touch.
Those are my daughter's 4-H projects.
The kids enjoyed it.
Yeah, they, especially Skunky, the little one, he
Yeah.
very friendly. So, but that's, again, we're looking at bringing in some chickens. really making that farmstead a holistic approach. And kids love animals. I mean, lots of people love animals. So
Right.
again, just another reason also for locals to get out there and
Right.
see them too.
Well done.
Doing a good job. I have an 8-year-old that loves to go out there, but we have to stay outside. He has a phobia on high ceilings. I've never heard of it before.
Oh.
He can't go any place that has high ceilings.
Oh.
When we go in there, he has a death grip on my hand. We go inside and turn around, come right back out. But we walk around the outside, he's fine with it.
Put a ball cap on it.
No, I'm not kidding you. We took him to the Space Museum in Denver and he wouldn't go inside because of the high ceilings.
But
Yeah.
you buy a little hat there.
It's just, I don't know what it is. Okay, thank you, guys. I need a motion
Appreciate it.
to approve, the $150,000 through the tourism
Over 3-year period.
over a 3-year period.
Well, I move it, we approve to $150,000 over 3-year period, $50,000 each year.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Any discussion? Record your votes.
Alicia?
Okay to close?
Close. All right, next
You
item.
have 4
Brenda, you're
yeses?
still up?
Okay, second on the list is Scotts Bluff County Fairgrounds. And boy, we shouldn't have to talk too long about this. Everybody was at that rodeo last year, and we know exactly what they need to improve that arena. And basically, they are calling this the new pathway and bleachers proposal. It's going to be phase 1 of this whole project. Overall costs are about $47,000, and it's all about fencing, pathway rock, bleacher upgrades, a new sound system. But if you were at the rodeo then this year, you probably noticed that both on the west side and the south side of the grandstands, there's a nice walkway now with additional seating. We're looking at about 700 to 800 more seats by the time that they're done. But the fencing is also gonna be, a large part of that project. And then also they need to do a little bit of work over there on that side with proper drainage, and we found that out last Wednesday, just in case anybody missed that. But the new layout, they feel, will really encourage the, people to come out and have larger events in that arena, because of the larger seating areas and, spaces for much larger crowds. And also, one of the main points of the project that we really liked was that the new ADA accessibility will really allow people with disabilities to have a way better view right down there in front. They were kind of tucked away before, but this will kind of get them up a little bit higher above the crowd so that they can see better. And the tourism committee has requested that you do approve, holy cow, I didn't write it down, it's right here. Yep, thank you, $23,500. So that's about half of the cost of what is needed. But, the large amount, the large events that they will be able to hold will really help, boost what we're doing in tourism. And, Matt, well, he was here, I think he's still here, yeah. He can talk about this all day long, so,
Matt, why don't you come on up?
yeah, very enthusiastic about this project and what they've done already.
Thank you, Brenda. Charlie did this to me because I'm a man of few words, so. No, it's a great project, 700 seats, and so, I guess if you divide that out, it's probably about 35, 36 bucks per seat. But, Mike, you were out there, you got to see firsthand how, that project really works, so.
I tell you, I look at it from a safety point of view, and this year was much safer for everyone, because there was plenty of seating, and, the pass to get places was pretty obstruction-free. But yeah, it's,
What about being ADA compliant? I think we were talking about crushed rock for the pathway or the sidewalk.
So we actually, have more, it allowed us to move some bleachers so that we had more ADA compliance in front, like when you first walk into the arena, cause that's where you wanna have, you know, main areas, and so we were moving bleachers from certain areas, and then that makes it more, you know, we're ADA compliant in front. So, to do the whole fairgrounds ADA probably cost us the whole county's budget, but we just chip away at it, so. Dirt, like I say, fill dirt, probably 120 loads brought in, and gravel, and then Guernsey fines, posts, wire fencing, arena panels, pedestrian bridge, culverts, sound, more speakers, because we're, you know, moving the sound to the south side. And so with that rodeo and then the rubber check race, spread the people out a little more, and like Mike said, a little safer, but also just good from a revenue standpoint. We can put a lot more people in there, so.
Maybe you just, how many ADA are you adding to it, or?
I bet it was a dozen spots, as far as like, you know, like, a spot or an area where it can be a wheelchair with 2 or 3 people around it. So, and then we just wanna keep pushing that in front of the grandstands. So if we remove a set of bleachers, a set of white bleachers that might seat 80 people, so you take that 80 out of the equation, we've gotta put those bleachers somewhere, so that, you know, requires raising everything up. And
How
then-
many more additional people did you have this year for the rodeo?
I don't have the numbers
Yeah.
yet, but, and that, so I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,300 people.
Additional, you think?
I know, total, at
Yeah.
at that event.
Okay.
So, and I don't have the exact numbers. That event is actually, Riley Howe Rodeo Productions puts that on.
But you still have to furnish the seating for
You
it,
bet,
yeah.
you bet, yeah, everything for it, so, you know, on our end of it, as far as.
The shoots and everything else
Yeah.
are all the ag societies.
Yep, you
Yeah.
bet, and we'll always keep those, strip and shoots, you bet. We get asked once a month to buy them, you know, someone wants to buy them from us. And they're pretty nice, we'll keep them, so, yeah. Anything else?
No, I think,
How does the Ag Society board, come to be? How does somebody get on that board? What is the length of time that they're on the board?
So, members of the Ag Society serve a 3-year term, and it's set up, it's a 9-member board, and it's got an executive team of a president, vice president, secretary, and a treasurer. And each board member has a 3-year term, and so three members, or, you know, so many members fall off every year, or reapply, so.
they're
How do they
elected,
reapply?
they're elected at large.
Yes.
A notice is put out.
It's an ag society, and so basically, people come to the meeting, they have to be a Scotts Bluff County
That's right.
resident. And, you know, if a person wants to get on the board, they come to that November meeting, and they, you know, come before us and give a speech, tell us about what they wanna do out there. We usually have a lot of people that wanna be on the board for some reason, the first week in August. I don't know why everybody wants to be on our board then, and then about a week after, fair. But then, for some reason, September and then October, and then we don't see them come November.
It's an election that is held there.
That's correct.
It's not like the airport authority or anybody else. Whoever shows up for that meeting is elect the board, so, and you have to be, like you said, you have to be, Scotts Bluff County resident.
And it's, you know, every county is required, by the state to put on a fair, and that's what, you know, we're required by the state to put on a county fair. But we've taken, our board has taken it one step further. We have events year round. We have a manager, we have a staff with, she has an assistant, and we have groundskeepers, 2 of them, full-time. And we have events that fall in line with tourism all the time. The AKC Dog Show, which is one of the largest in the United States, it's like a 3 or 4 day, and they only have 2 of those in the US, and we're one of them, so brings a lot of people in, so.
This Ag Society and this fair at one time, and before you got on, was being considered for a Western state fair. They were going to expand it, so there were 2 state fairs, one out in the west and one in the east. And there was a lot of talk about having Scotts Bluff County as the second state fair.
We consider ourselves that right now.
Yeah,
'Cause as
Jerry
far as-
Jerry Fitzgerald was on the state board.
You bet.
It was
Quality
close.
of facilities, equipment, location,
Mhm.
the amount of animals we can bring in, and then just like that New Year's Beef Bash, we have a big show, indoor show for cattle
Yeah.
over New Year's, and that brings in a lot of people as well.
Oh, they run 40,000 plus in your week. Used to, and I think it's probably more than that now.
Right on. Yep, it's a good fair. We had a little bit of weather, but everybody out there.
You guys do a good job.
Yeah, just kind of a group of problem solvers. That rain hits, and next thing you know, one guy's in a maintainer, and a couple guys are in loaders, and we're moving 500 tons of mud somewhere. So it's a good fair. Nobody got, no real incidents that I can think of. Maybe a few disagreements, but they're all handled.
Gets a little tense about midweek.
There you go.
About midweek, everybody doesn't talk to each other for a little while, but and then you're all right.
We have CERT and the sheriff's department, and our security, and
Yeah.
so really good shit out there. Lana Hubbard does a fantastic job, so.
Yeah. Okay, I would entertain a motion for approval of the $23,500 being asked for by the Scotts Bluff County Ag Society.
Well, I move that we approve the $23,500 for the Ag Society.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion? Please record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close, please.
4 yeses?
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. All right, you're not done yet.
No,
You have another one.
yes.
Go for it.
Okay, this one I have invited Aaron to be here because while I completely understand this process, he's just a little better at explaining it than me because he's in charge of the Rubidoux Rendezvous, so he can give you a little bit better details, so.
Well, welcome, Aaron.
Hey, hopefully mine's pretty simple. I sent y'all a copy of this resolution, I think Friday evening or something like that. Hopefully you got it. Did that not happen?
Well, I saw that you emailed all of us,
Okay.
but I don't know if they got it.
Okay, well, the resolution, I didn't bring copies for everyone. It's essentially asking Scotts Bluff County, to request authority over Highway 71 starting in Banner County at, County Road 36 through County Road W in Scotts Bluff County. Basically what happens for the Monument Marathon, just a little bit further south, so we can close one northbound lane for cyclist and hand cyclist and para-athlete traffic coming back over the Wildcat Hills. Most of the race goes through the Wildcat Hills through trail in there. However, with this particular event, there are para-athletes, so disabled veterans, amputees, things like that, people on hand cycles, that they're not gonna be, they just can't go through that single track, so we have to close a lane to keep all that safe. And then it also allows us to protect the crossing at County Road W, as people come across traveling on County Road W, getting east of the highway. Just to protect the national championship, protect the riders, all that kind of stuff. But main point of all this is safety, right? For drivers and riders alike. Everything is on par with what NDOT needs. It's all, we've contracted with CSI to actually take care of the closure. So it meets all their regulations. Doug Hovitt is aware of it, expecting the plan to land on his desk once this is approved. So that's essentially it. That's what's in here.
Steve, what do we normally do on that? Do we have any, are you gonna do the barricading and the flag?
No, they'll do their
CSI
own.
is.
Yep, they'll do their own barricading event, so.
then you have people stationed out there also.
Yeah, so the sheriff's office is gonna take care of a portion of it for part of the day. And then we'll move away from actual like a hard stop. So we will stop traffic briefly for the pro race that's come through. And then we're kind of deciding how far back do we stop doing that, so that we stop briefly for, 30 seconds at a time on 71. And then as you get further and further back to the race, the onus goes back to rules of the road, rider stop signs. If you're, you're out there just have a good time and you're not putting it all down on the line for 60 grand or, the prize purse, that kind of thing, then you can stop at a stop sign. So that's our plan.
Is there gonna be any signage, anything, so people
Yes.
coming north on 71 know what's going on?
Yep.
Okay.
And so that's in part of that's in CSI's plan.
Yeah,
Yeah, lighted signage
okay.
and all the, prepare to stop, all that kind of stuff.
So
And
the sorry.
Oh, I've got that entire traffic control plan that I can send after this. It's 84 pages long. I just figured it'd be.
It's okay. I'll trust you with it. Unless one of these guys wanna look through it, but I'm
Yeah,
I'm
lot of
fine
orange
with it.
dots.
I'm fine with it, yeah.
Who's doing the barricading?
CSI, yeah, contractor services.
And are they doing, they're gonna have flagmen out there also with the sheriff's department, or?
So when we move away from the actual protected closure, when the sheriffs leave, we'll move to volunteer flaggers on the county road. Yeah.
Okay. We just don't wanna get anybody hurt or
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
to get some of those old folks out there that just need to get to Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the past, I've helped with the bicycle races at different country intersections, and it's very, very well run, very safe.
Yeah. The nice thing is that outside of that pro field, it's so spread out that, and it slows down a lot as you get further back in the field, and so
Yeah.
it's sort of normal operating procedure once that goes through.
Okay.
I think the sheriff has a comment.
I'll just comment that we've been involved in this planning with them, and it's not their first rodeo, they've done it, and you guys have seen very similar thing, with the Monument Marathon. And they shut things down, and they shut it lane down, and the contractor is good at what they do, they're professionals, so I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah. And typically for Rubidoux, we don't close that lane, cause we send everybody up through the Wildcats. And then that everything on our race outside of a couple intersections is just rules of the road. This national championship event is a little bit different story.
And that's over Labor Day weekend, correct?
The weekend after.
The weekend after,
Yeah, September
okay.
9th. And it's only for
I
that.
couldn't remember what weekend it was, cause there's that big concert
There's a lot
over
going
Labor
on in
Day.
September.
They're
Yep.
expecting like 5,000 to 10,000 people for that too.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, couple big weekends, for sure. Okay. Nice job, you guys. Everybody's really excited about this thing.
Trying.
I'm not a cyclist, but there's a lot of people really excited about it. But thank you for all your hard work on it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I know you guys have, Brenda and everybody else involved with this, and Charlie, I know you've been working really hard on it also.
I'm just a cheerleader.
Yeah,
They're doing all the work.
you're doing more than that. You've been doing quite a bit with it. We appreciate all
You
that.
brag it up at the meetings.
Cheerleader.
Yeah. All right, with that, I would entertain a motion for approval of the resolution to close the northbound lane.
I would move approval of the resolution for the gravel national championship bike race.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any other discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close, please.
And you have 4 yeses?
Okay, got your lane closed.
Thanks, guys.
All right. What do we need? Just mine?
Uh-huh.
Okay, right here.
Well, this is chairman and vice chair.
But he's not here.
He's not here, so it's all you.
I got it all, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gets hurt, I get it then, that's, yeah.
No, no,
Thanks,
no.
Brenda.
Yep.
Okay, next item.
Thank you very much.
Discuss and consider the Board of Commissioners' signatures on a letter concerning the Region One behavioral health. Okay, I'm sorry, what?
I'm not I came up early, sorry.
Okay, we'll get through this quickly. This has been floating around for a while. We've touched on it. This is a letter that was sent out by the commissioner out of Dawes County. We discussed it at the Regional One meeting. His concern is that there are some times when we have some folks up at Region One that are not actually working there, they're working from home. And they don't care for that. They do have, I think Dawes County signed a letter that they're not happy with that, and they wanted other boards to sign a letter similar to that.
Do we have a copy of that letter?
I had it, we had it.
It's been in the email.
It's been in the email. Everybody's had a chance to read it. But understanding that the majority of the work that is done at this particular facility are more, just lost the word.
It's referral based.
Referral, that's the word, referral basis, and there isn't a lot of one-on-one type things, and there are people there. If you go up there, you know, you ring the bell and there is somebody that's there. I've been up there on more than one occasion to ask questions, or I needed to sign something or whatever, so you know, I guess it's up to you guys what your feeling is on it. You know, this all came about during COVID, and they have some folks that are able to do kind of the same thing from home that they're able to do there within the office. And productivity has not changed at all. And there was a quite extensive letter from the CEO, the manager, indicating that the work was being completed.
What is the tone of the Region One governors, the other
board?
commissioners?
We'd only discussed it the one time. We went to an executive session and discussed it, which I said we really didn't need to do that, but that's what he wanted to do.
Okay.
And that's when he first brought it up. And then it was followed up by this letter that we received.
Okay. So, just to kind of give you guys a little background, I was our representative on the Region One board. There's two different Region Ones. There's Region One Behavioral Health and there's Region One Developmental Health.
Okay.
And this is Region One Behavioral Health we're talking about. And it is, you know, I was on the board for 4 years, and then, so I was there when right at the tail end of when they moved up to that building that they're in now. And then it took them a long time to sell their old building, which is down there on the avenues west of Broadway, west of downtown
Avenue
Scotts
D.
Bluff.
No, it was on Avenue A. It's where, it used to be the old accounting office. Data Cole's accounting office,
Okay.
and Panhandle Public Health is in there now. They're the ones who bought the building.
So, you know, traditionally they have used to occupy a building that was much smaller, but they owned the building up north because it was Panhandle Mental Health. When they got out of being a service provider, just being a referral agency, they moved out of the small building and moved into the big building. And then when COVID hit, they sent everybody to work from home. And there was some consternation on the board about that, and I was pretty vocal at the time that, you know, work from home is the future, and work from home is, you know, good for some employees are gonna work well, some employees are gonna take advantage of it, just ride the clock. But I was an advocate for work from home as long as things were getting done. My position on that has changed some. I am not I don't really like the work from home. To be full-time. I think it should be, 2 days a week or 3 days a week, or, alternate, something like that, or, work from home, some sort of hybrid setup. But I'm also have a very strong opinion that Region One needs to get out of that building. That building is a money pit. It's 4 times the size that they need, but they are the board is so reluctant to vacate that building because of their memory of trying to sell the old building. Took them 2 years, 3 years to sell that building, and it ended up going to another, it went to Panhandle Public Health, which is, but that was, times were different back then too. Commercial properties were not moving, but they just have such a bad taste in their mouth of how long it took them to sell that building, that now they're pigeonholing themselves into staying into this big building that is way too big for their needs. If they moved, somewhere like the TCD East Center or something like that, where they could kind of have a hotelier style office setup where, here's 10 cubes or here's 10 offices, and we got 30 people that are gonna rotate in and out of these offices all week, but that way someone's always there. I really think they need to take a look at, something different, not just the work from home piece, but the entire setup of Region One. But I would, then I don't know that they'll ever realize that they're in a building that's too big for themselves until they get everybody back in the building. I would be in favor of signing this letter with Dawes County to say, let's go back to working from the office. And I'm a little frustrated. I guess I would like to know more about, how the board feels, and I'm guessing the board's maybe split on.
To be honest, it only came up one time.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, we got a letter, and
Yeah.
this is my first year on it, so I know that they moved into the building because they owned it. That was the only reason. I don't even know how many of those offices are being used. I couldn't tell you. I'm so new on, I haven't been there a year or a year and a half, however long it's been, so I'm relatively new to it. I sat on it years ago, a long time ago.
But
I'm learning also.
I do know that it came up several times, just kind of after the director's report, the questions from the board would come up and say, hey, are we still working from home? And there would be some back and forth on why we should or shouldn't be in the work from home situation. And I kind of got the feeling that the director was gonna be, hard line in the sand, that, she was gonna stick up for her employees and let them work from home, and then the board was rather, almost not really willing to pick that.
Yeah.
You know,
There wasn't much of an opinion that
No.
day, to be honest with you. It was about a 20-minute discussion. We were kinda hit by surprise by it.
Well, I agree with Charlie. When it comes to behavioral health, accessibility is everything.
Yes.
And people need to have a storefront, a sign, a place they can go to seek help. And once they're there, there needs to be staff.
You have to be staffed.
Plus, what concerns me with working from home is confidentiality. These people work with very confidential information. And how do you safeguard that confidentiality if it's outside the workplace?
Yeah, the confidentiality piece doesn't really bother me. I've worked in healthcare, for the better part of 10 years, 11 years, and had always had access to a computer and remote connection to work. And I worked in the IT department, so that, I was very familiar with the safeguards put in place for policies and two-factor authentication and that sort of stuff to keep the confidentiality, at a level where it needed to stay is just, but I do agree with that, you know, the storefront, you know, and just because Region 1 is a referral basis, doesn't mean that we can just tell them on the phone where to go.
Right.
They still need that human contact. They need to see that someone can look them in the eye and someone cares for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, if 2/3 of your people are out working from home on a particular day and somebody else has to run to pick up a prescription or run across town to get their kid from daycare, like, you know, then there's nobody there for that, you know, that contact point. And the other piece I don't like about that building up there is it's so far removed from where people live who need those services. You know, if there was a building down around here, or, you know, something on the Scotts Bluff County Highway that was just more accessible. Anyway, I mean, I would agree with signing the letter with Dallas County.
Okay. Russ?
I agree. I think we ought to go ahead, sign with that.
Okay.
So I guess I would make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter, or do we all need to sign it?
I don't remember how it was stated. It's been so long, I'd have to pull it up. Do you have a copy of it?
I've never seen the letter.
Here it says, discuss and consider Board of Commissioners signatures on letter.
I think if I remember right, it was all our
All
signatures.
of our signatures, yes.
Okay.
I can just send you the letter when I get access to my email again, and you can all sign it.
Okay. And then we'll sign it and,
Did we have a second?
do you have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, indicate your vote, please.
Oops, I think I screwed up.
Okay, so it's not okay to close if you need to?
Can you redo it?
No, you can change your vote before I
can change my
close it.
vote?
Okay to close?
Yes.
And I have 4 yeses?
Yes.
I guess I would just throw out there one other, the only other board I sit on that has had a work from home discussion is Twin City Development, and they are very much opposed to work from home.
Work from home, yeah. And I don't know where he's at with other boards at this particular time, so, and we have a meeting Thursday, so I'll know more about it. I'll indicate that we voted to sign the letter too. Okay. Okay, very good, thanks, everybody. Okay, Lisa, you're up.
Okay, we had a personnel board meeting on the 27th of July, and we recommend like 5 policies be approved, and I only gave Kelly 4 of them. So I guess I come back with the last one later. I looked at my email, it's my fault. Yeah. Okay, now I'm getting all sorts of gibberish. Are you sure you don't want a second?
Will you take your time and excuse me for just a minute?
Yeah.
Stop.
Okay. Sorry, sorry. Okay. Couldn't do this when I was just sitting there. Don't send out data. Done. Okay. First policy, 7307, we had a very little change on here. And it deals with a person who's on, okay, while an employee is on family medical leave, the employee shall be entitled to continued health insurance coverage on the same terms as if the employee were not on leave. That part of the health insurance premiums paid by the employee must be paid to and received by the county on or prior to the 15th. We were bumping up the due date rather than waiting on people to show up the last day and then they forget or they don't come in. They need to get the money in here for the next month's premiums by the 15th. So then, I'm supposed to talk slow, cause then you vote on these one at a time, right? Any questions?
Concerns about it? Okay.
I'll do the next one, then you can come back and vote on them. Our next update was, in the Code of Ethics for County Employees section, we added a section to deal with, gossip, basically. Employees of Scotts Bluff County should be respectful and refrain from critical discussions that can injure another person's credibility and reputation. Gossip is an activity that can drain, distract, and create hostility in the workplace. This can be in regards to fellow employees and or the public, so. We didn't have anywhere where we have a lot of people that could bits around, and, you know, we didn't have anything specifically that I would address that topic. So, that's two. Driver's license and commercial driver's license policies. We took this out, last year because of the change in the requirements to get a CDL license. Now we wanna add the statement back in. I think with a different timeline. Road and Bridge Department only, newly hired employees will have 6 months to complete requirements for CDL licensure. If after 6 months, employees who have not secured a CDL to drive vehicles that require a CDL can be terminated. And Steve hires the people, and they are well aware, if they don't have their CDL, they are expected to get it. And I think it was within 60 days. But anyway, now with the new CDL requirements, we're giving them 6 months to complete, and there's some online programs they take, and we have a person that works with them in Sydney to do their test runs. Help me, what is it they do? They go to Sydney to be tested on their driving skills.
I have an individual down there that sets them up through the federal highway to do their curriculum testing they have to do for their CDL and that. And they have to do it all online. He sets them up in there. And then once they pass that, they do their driving with us and record their driving time. And then when they're ready to drive, they will get a hold of him and they go down there and drive. So.
Kurt, do your drivers require that on the buses? Yours don't do that.
We don't.
At this time.
Yeah, okay.
If we ever go to bigger buses.
So what's, is that for everyone, Steve, or is that just for truck drivers? How do you have that?
That's what we do. Everybody we hire, we make get a CDL.
So it's for everyone?
Yeah, so it's been pretty convenient. It's better than paying $3,500 or $5,000 to go through the college. This is $600 for this guy. So, and not everybody in that 60 days, you know, we hire a grader operator, and we have weather like we've had. To get them in a truck and get driving and take testing, they just simply don't have time in 60 days to get that done, so.
We're giving them their probationary period to get it done. Okay. Is that what I had oh, shoot, this is the one I missed. Injury leave, I guess we'll discuss that next time. I'll put it back on the agenda. Is it? No? Okay, so what do I do, Kelly? I have 7603.3, but I wrote what is expected of you, and it's the injury leave policy.
So we only have 3 on the agenda.
Well, we just have one.
It looks like we need to correct.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
what
do we do this one, or do I come down and do what's expected of you, or can I add them both? And just get them done. See what I did? The title, but the wrong.
Well, I would think that our employees deserve the opportunity to be here with everything that's on the agenda regarding personnel. That's my opinion.
And they had the opportunity at the personnel board, and 2 people showed up. So.
Okay.
I'm just talking from a
let's act
attorney
on them then.
standpoint
Mhm.
and my agenda.
So one got left out again, huh?
One got left out, but I cross-referenced 2. Should I just bring the 2 back next time? We'll just do 3, and then we'll bring these last 2.
It's not an emergency thing, so we're all right.
No, it's not.
Okay, so what we're gonna act on is 7307, 1800, and 9300. Is that correct?
7307, 1800, and 9300 is.
Right.
Is where we match up, yes.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve those as presented, or
You're voting on all 3 at once?
Usually you vote
yeah, let's vote one at a
individually.
time. Do I have a motion to approve policy number 7307?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion
was
or
the first
questions,
then?
please?
He was the first. Raise it.
If not, record your vote, please. Yes. Do I have a
You have
motion?
4 yeses?
Do I have a motion to approve 1800, please?
I'll move to approve 1800.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Record your vote.
Okay to close?
Close.
I have 4 yeses.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve, update number 9300?
I move that we, update 9300.
Is there any discussion? Record your votes, please.
Okay to close?
Close.
You have 4 yeses?
Yes.
All right, sorry for the mix-up.
Okay.
I'll catch you
And I'll
next
just say
time.
we
We
tabled.
can still do 73,
Table.
7603, can't we? It's-
We can't, I have it named wrong. I
Yes,
have it
named
named
wrong. Oh, you do?
incorrectly.
Oh, okay.
7603 is actually an
Oh.
injury leave policy, and what's expected of you is 18001. So we've, pointed to 2 different policies, and we'll do them next time.
So
Okay?
that, and this will be also considered your director report also.
Yeah, you can just consider it. It could have been put in the consent agenda. I just thought I'd put it out there.
Okay. A motion to receive, the director's report, please.
I'll move to receive the director's report.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close. Okay, thank you.
have 4 yeses?
All right, next item, discuss, consider ratification of chairman's signature on Nebraska State Patrol HIDA grant.
I don't have anything to say other than I had Ken sign this HIDA grant, and Sheriff's gonna say, yep.
Yes. This
Put
is,
in a grant.
this is an annual grant, comes to us from, HIDA stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. We're part of Midwest HIDA. There are HIDAs that cover 100% of the United States. And, this grant has helped to fund the Wing Task Force since sometime in the 90s. And it comes to us with no strings attached. There's no match. It's just a pass-through. But we are we're the fiscal agent for Wing and always have been for all the grants. So,
Okay.
any questions about what this is? I'd be glad to answer.
Anybody have any questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval, ratify the signature.
I move that we approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Record your votes.
The one I'm looking at says was awarded March 6th.
Okay to close?
Yes.
Is what?
It's been awarded March 6th.
You have 4 yeses?
They're always late.
This one we've been waiting for? we talked
Well,
about it here?
this happens every year.
Okay.
This is the 2023 grant. It gets awarded. It starts in, it's a tradition. It's kind of a tradition.
Okay. Joint public hearing update, Lisa?
We just wanted to bring you up to speed with, Kelly and I met August 2nd with representatives from City of Scotts Bluff, City of Gearing, and some of the schools that might be involved in a joint public hearing if they ask for more than 2.5% increase in their property tax levies. If they keep their levies the same this year, they're gonna come to joint public hearing like they did last year. If you're familiar with the joint public hearing.
Pink postcard bill.
That was
The
a new
pink
thing
po-
last year, wasn't it?
That was the new thing last year.
Right.
And, last year, City of Scotts Bluff, City of Gearing, and Minutair Schools, all 3 presented. And the public gets a postcard notifying them, and we had a decent crowd show up.
A lot more than I remembered when I looked at the tally sheet.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, and, okay, and WNCC is where we held it last year at the Little Theater, and we will have it there again, and the date is September 20th at 6:05. Now, this part Kelly can help me with. It's not an open meeting, it is a,
There was a change in law that allows all 5 of you to be there without me having to publish that it does not qualify as an open meeting. I think it was in chapter 77 or 84. I don't have the slideshow with me, but
Let's see, I can
I
pull
wanted
it
to
up
say
at
all
my
the other
brother's-
stuff you just said.
Oh.
That's if I could remember. But anyway, I did give them a good challenge. Just because the values go up doesn't mean that they can't lower their levy. They don't have to spend it all just because values went up. So keep pushing it. Lower their levy like the county did.
Yes.
Talk to your cities.
Talk to
I
your
have
city.
Please,
I've
keep,
been talking
keep
to
after it.
Yeah.
I walked Pat Heath all the way down the stairs. So
Did you?
I've,
I'm not so sure they're not gonna do the same thing, so.
I know, I'm afraid they will.
just to clarify, when Lisa started talking, she said if, as long as we don't raise the levy by 2.5%, what she meant was.
Expenses.
Expensive.
Yeah, raise the budget by 2.5%.
Expenses.
Expenses.
Yeah, if we, and then levy would come, anyway, we are allowed to increase by 2.5% our total tax dollar spend. But if we go, but our levy can go up this year, most likely, we don't know what our valuation is, but we're gonna assume it's gonna be higher. And if we keep the same levy as we had last year, we'd probably increase our property tax spend by more than that 2.5%, which would require us to go to the joint public hearing. But, and we can do that, you guys, we need more money, we could do that. But we just have to explain to the public why we're doing it, and everybody in the county will get a pink postcard then, not just people in the city of Scotts Bluff, or people in the city of Gearing. What else did I need to say about that?
And that's pretty pricey.
Yeah, that's, and the cost of the joint public hearing, you guys already approved using the state facility to print the postcards and send them from Lincoln. So last year, the grand total was $4,700. I just was typing in the numbers today, $4,715, which was paid by City of Scotts Bluff, City of Gearing, and Miniature Schools.
They were the only
However,
participants.
Yeah, but we had to be the pass-through. We had to pay the bill and they had to pay us. There was that, and one other point I wanted to bring up about the fact that, oh, and this year, September 20th, last year's joint public hearing was more like the September 26th or 7th. We're earlier this year, so we can have our joint public hearing and then set our property tax levy and finish up our budget process the following week. So we're gonna do that later. Then, last year we were kinda hustling to get the budget done, then go to joint public hearing. We could do it in reverse order this year, so.
The deadlines didn't line up. I think that's why they changed so much this year for us.
Yeah, but it didn't go away. Anyway, we just
No.
wanted you to know, September 20th, 6:05, everyone can attend if you choose to attend. If we have to present if we are required to participate, we have to have a presenter there, and there's specific information we have to put out in a PowerPoint or whatever. But we also have an elected official has to be there as well.
I would consider that one of you guys, one of
Yes.
the board.
One of the board would be there, and one of you can present it too, as far as I'm concerned, so.
From what I understand, there were a lot of intelligent questions last year. And a lot of unintelligent questions.
Oh, that was the other thing, we totally, and yeah, we had a good discussion with the people this year. And I haven't done this yet, but their feel was we'd really like to have a moderator there, a person who is unrelated to any entity to help keep the things moving on, not let, and people can come speak, but you are not required to answer questions. They can voice their opinion, and we have to grant the public the opportunity to speak. And we have a couple of names of people we were thinking that would be good in this role to just keep things going and kind of be the go-between person, but we don't want it to be anybody directly involved. Actually, Ray Richards came up, we're gonna see if he's available, and I can't remember who this number 2 was. There was a number 2. Oh, Randy Meininger, or who was the other mayor that we just, Tony Kaufman, I believe they brought them up.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, that's our update for you.
Okay, thank you. Next item is receive inventories from GIS mapping, building and ground surveyor, veteran service office, building and zoning management accountant. Do I have a motion, please?
I have a question on
Receive
that.
the
I have a question.
inventories of the listed departments.
You have a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay,
Russ had a
now,
question.
I understand.
Yeah,
Now we'll go into questions?
Let me bring that up here. Find it. Well, you got a total of 52,000 in inventory on that. Last year, we bought, or you bought, that new, mapping system. Didn't we give like 50,000 for that? Does that
No,
not,
that's just software.
so software
It's
doesn't
not,
go into
it's not
inventory?
an actual, like, device in my office.
Okay, so
That's
it's not
that.
part of an inventory.
Right.
I just wondered about that, cause I thought you're probably under what that software costs.
Yeah, no, that's just, like, my computers and my printers and,
Yeah, I understand, but
yeah,
I
that's.
thought software was tangible.
Okay,
That's
Sure
my
put it
que-
on there.
Any
No,
other
I'm
questions?
Just asking, I didn't know if it needed to be or not.
Questions, concerns? Okay, record your votes.
Okay to close?
Close.
And you have 3 yeses?
Yes.
Except for I need all of you to sign all 6 of them. Some of them are
All right.
with your name.
We are now into public comments. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to the board this time from the public? Not, move on to board and staff reports. Start with the board. Just want to remind everybody that we have budget on Wednesday night, Thursday night, and next Monday, starting at 4 o'clock.
Tuesday night.
Tuesday.
What did I say?
You said Wednesday and Thursday.
Tuesday.
8, 9, 10, and 14.
Well, let me look here. What do I have? Yeah, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday.
And Thursday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
And then next Monday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Monday, almost like protest hearings.
So that you could have Friday off.
We have Friday off.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And those start at 4 o'clock, you guys, not 4:30.
I said 4 o'clock, didn't I?
I don't know.
Okay, yeah, all right. Oh, you're confusing me, Kelly.
Stop it.
Okay, what, busy week this week. We got lots of meetings coming up,
Tomorrow.
lots of stuff. Russ, you have anything?
We do not.
Mike, anything?
No.
Charlie?
Nothing.
Staff? Start with Lisa. Dave, you have anything? Kurt? Steve?
Looking at it right now.
Okay.
Our tails handed to us last 6 weeks with all the thunderstorms and washed out.
Yeah.
Road, but still. Get through it. This week we're gonna get some out on Stegall. We do that today. We should be pushing that up. 2 miles on Highway 92.
Good.
So this week, there won't be any greater shut on the gravel this week. It's gonna be chip sealing. So we have to finish up Wright's Gap that we didn't finish in June because of the weather and all the rain. So we weren't able to finish that up that week.
Okay, very good, thank you. Well, that's nice, thank you.
What? Good job.
I am working on, with Phil Kelly, on a interlocal agreement between us and the city of Earing and also the city of Scotts Bluff, those two. Basically sharing our imagery that we have flown every 3 years. There was never anything in writing, so, we all agreed that we should have something in writing. They pay us a portion of, it's determined by how many, images cover their city limits. And so that, all that comes from the vendor. But that is coming, so I'll have it on the agenda, I would assume in September, so.
Okay, well, they're up in the air, they might as well take a picture. Yeah. Okay, Kelly, anything?
I don't think so.
Okay. Not that I would entertain a motion to move into executive session. In that session will be Gene Bauer, Dave, Lisa, and the board. And we'll move into, need a motion for executive session, please? To discuss personnel,
I'll
I'm
move
sorry.
to go into executive session with the board, Gene Bauer, Lisa, and Dave Eubanks.
Okay? Is there a
I'll
second?
I'll second that.
Record your votes. And we'll go into executive
Okay to
session.
close?
Yeah, 6:14.
And you have 4 yeses.
How you been feeling, Kenny?
I'm just having.
I don't think she left. No, she's here.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Everything okay, Kelly?
I'm trying to speed
I
it
don't
up.
know. Thank you.
Okay. We're back in regular session at 7:12.
That's 2 times we've agreed on what time it is tonight, Ken.
Well, it's on my phone, eh? Okay, call the roll.
Meyer,
Yes?
Knapper,
Yes.
Reisig,
Yes.
Blue,
Yes.
any decisions made?
No.
No.
We're adjourned.
7:12. Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to sign all these, kids.
Oh.